What's up guys, and welcome back to another video where Angolan Ball Mapping struggles to record a video at 3 a.m. again. Let's get into it with some simple exploration. So this is going to be all the land explored like so. Boom, map expanded. Big map expansion. Yeah. So this is what the map looks like without the explored layer on. But it's changed a lot from when we saw it last. So what we're going to be seeing is a new country popping up, and it's going to be a little bit of like a greenish cyan country. Wait, no. That's the Dutch. Hold up, I need a color. Hold up. So here we see this country forming right here. It's going to be in the little mix of Norway and Sweden, and it's just going to appear right here, and it's going to be a green country, mainly focused around the Oslo area, but it's just going to be mainly set up just for resource access through this little strait, and it's not going to have much going on other than just potential standing and staging ground for moving people through the Baltics. Now, another thing that we're going to be seeing is just some basic expansion from all of these nations, particularly Ukraine, the Balkans, and the Middle East. So these are all the border changes. So the red team gains some land in Africa. Egypt gets a lot bigger. Libya doesn't expand. Well, the colony of Libya. Ukraine expands a little bit, and then the Germanic region's going to be divided up like this. Oh wow. Just some beautiful river borders. And then the Italians get a lot. The Slovenians even get a little bit. Or not the Slovenians, the Croatians, I want to call them. I don't know. If you want to name a country, let me know. But, yeah. These are the new borders of the world. Not much has changed. But a new important event. So let's go ahead and go through that. So Sparta's getting a little ambitious. They're like, Albania, your people, we don't like them. They're the same religion, but we don't like them. We have parts of our religion in this country. We just want to unite our religion over on the Greek area. So they're going to invade the Lime team, and the Lime team's going to be like, whoa, all right, let's protect our capital, not capital city, major city. And they're going to be like, all right, well, we're pushing in. And then the Spartans are going to be like, all right, you're pushing in. And they let them push in. They let them push in super hard. And they just keep their troops over here. The Lime team's completely and utterly confused. And as the Lime team just goes through here, they find a very large lack of people, and they get so close to the capital city. But then the Spartan troops push across here, cutting off supplies. And almost the entire Lime team army is surrounded by Spartan troops. And they start to push in on them and in on them. And the Spartans are slowly going to use their very smart strategy of letting them invade into their land and removing their people from that land and moving them into another place and moving them back afterwards. Basically serving, hey, this is an area, you invade here, we push you through. And it's going to be a very useful military strategy as the Lime team completely can't do anything, and the Spartans just completely siege the Lime team, and their capital's completely sieged, completely and utterly, quickly. Like, the people don't even respect the Lime team for this. Now let's go ahead and see the peace treaty. So the Spartans will be taking these said provinces, and they would want to take more, but there's honestly just not enough people in their military for them to consolidate all of those people. But they did gain a major city and a major little port access area over here, so that's going to help them control their African area, and they're also going to expand this African area. And they're really going to be like, all right, well, this is a different part of us, but we don't know how to treat these people. They're bringing in new resources. They're not being taxed the same because we can't tax them correctly because the voyage. Now, they're being undertreated, undertaxed, but they're being taxed a lot more. Um, so they finally set up a proper tax system, and this tax system completely fails the Libyans, and they are completely and utterly mad at the Greeks, the Spartans. Now let's go ahead and see another event. The Polish or Kaliningrad nation are going to expand more into the Baltics, and they're going to be mainly just trying to get coastline, figure out what's up here. They're going to take two Estonian islands, and they're going to take all this island right over here in Sweden, more islands over here. But they're also going to take a little bit of actually Sweden, putting their culture in Sweden. And the Nordics, they're just being exploited for resources, and the Norwegian country can't do anything. They can't. They're too weak, too early on. They're saying, hey, this is my area. I don't want anyone being over here. Because, you know, I got over here to get away from everybody. Everybody doesn't have to come to me. And that's what they're going to go off of. That's what they're going to say. Nobody listens. Um, since nobody's listening, they can't plead for help. They can't do anything. So what we see is just a bunch of Norwegians being like, "Hey, let's go to a bunch of new land in a new area. I know we're going to deal with this struggle of people coming in. So let's go try to get more inland. Inland in a different area, way different area." And they're going to be collectively grouping up with a lot of people. So they group up with a lot of Germanic kingdoms. And they're going to be like, we want a massive area, capable, not just separate from each other, capable of defending us and what we believe in. So this is going to be a theocracy, and they're going to highly prioritize their religion. And they're just going to expand so much since they got a ton of people moving in from every single green team. It's sort of like Wixo Russia in that fact that it's pulling everybody in, but everybody hates it. You know? Good comparison there. Um, Sort of like America did, but in an earlier time, way earlier time, far earlier. And due to this, they're going to be hated a lot, um, to a crazy amount. And people are going to start raiding them a little bit, but due to their military being strong, they counter counter the raids, and they don't ever find out who does the raid since they're not capable of that. But let's go ahead and plop down a lot of major cities. I guess this is like Austro-Hungary or just Greater Hungary. Um, Hungary. I think we'll just call it Hungary. Um, we also see a new Persian country popping up here in Persia. They're going to be like, hey, what's down here? We need the resources, and they find the UAE too. So they're going to just set up a quick little, um, here, let me get a color. Quick little blue nation along here. And they're just going to be like, hey, there's more land over here. We know it. We're going to exploit it one day. And they're going to prep for that with major trade advancements and everything. Now, a major event happening out of hatred is going to be this blue Iberian nation saying, hey, we're declaring war on the pink team, but we're fighting with the blue team over here, and they're going to be invading into the pink Iberian team, and the pink Iberian team is going to get backing from the red team. So what we see happening here is just a push back, and they push into the blue team, and they're like, hey, we know you're a religious capital, and we can't take you without getting so much backlash. So they're going to occupy it for about 20 years and let it go. And the blue team over here definitely learns its lesson, but they sort of nationalize the fact that their religion means a lot to them. And They're going to go from their oligarchy to a more theocracy, but still keep that oligarchy value, just be super religious. Now, we're going to start to see lots of exploration along the coast of the Middle East, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. With this, the countries around it, around the Middle East, start being like, hey, there's new resources here. Um, and they're just going to be like, all right, well, new resources, Persia's the closest country. So they're going to take two areas. And what we see here is in secrecy, away from the entire world, a country has been developing here for centuries. Not before the red team, but almost just as long. They've been trying to consolidate. They haven't been repopulating fast, but they've been here in Yemen. Now, this Yemenese country is a little bit advanced. Not crazy advanced, but they're more advanced than the German culture. So their culture is different from everybody else. They're not religious, not too religious in their government. They are a very powerful monarch for its area and country size. So, with this monarch being down here, everybody's going to be like, all right, we got to start trading with you. And then Egypt experiences a big buff in trade and population. And then people are like, all right, well, we don't trade with Persia. Persia's going to be like, all right, well, if y'all want to trade with me, I know this area. It has lots of rivers. It's very nice. And they're going to start exploring around this rivery area. And they're going to explore all this. I'm going to just erase this because I don't like it. Looks very bad. Yay, it's gone. All right. So, they're going to explore over here. And they're going to be like, hey, how about we set up sort of like a state of area where nobody really controls it. It's its own independent thing, and we use it as a staging ground for trade. And that's what they're going to use these rivers for, as like an entry point to trade. Now, they're going to get really big, but they're mainly going to be focused on the rivers. Now, these borders are going to suck for a while. I'm so sorry for all my border gore people, but these borders are going to suck for a while. And then the Persians start to expand, and they're going to be just mainly focusing on conquering the coast. And they're also going to conquer Qatar. Now, Qatar is a very important, vital part of this. They use it as like a docking ground, and they trade with it because it's a lot of good land. Um, Yemen's going to be getting a lot of trade, so what we see here is happening. The mainly the Greeks and Africans trade through this, going down through here, taking their spices, their different stuff, and what we see happening here is a new sort of dark red nation, dark pink nation being formed along the coast of Arabia right here. And there's going to be lots of nations being set up just for trade. Another event that we see take place is the Bulgarians and the Romanians. They always hate each other. Now, much like in real life, when you have a little exclave over here, nobody likes it. So, what we're going to be seeing here is a bunch of troops from Romania march into this exclave, claiming it as theirs. And the Bulgarians are going to be like, no, that's not yours. And they're going to push all the way up here. And they're going to take back their exclave, surprisingly. And the Romanians are going to be like, no, you did not. You took back more than your exclave. You took back one of our major cities. And everybody's going to be like, oh, my bad. And they just realize that. And then they get kicked out of their occupied land, kicked out of their exclave. Remember, these guys have almost little to no trade relations, and everybody hates them. So they're going to be jumped by everybody. The Turks are going to jump them, like so. Even the Cyan team, the weak Cyan team's going to jump them. just out of pure anger. And everybody's going to be supporting this jumping, and the jumping's just going to happen instantly. They surrender over to the Turks because they like the Turks the best. And let's see this peace treaty. So this is the peace treaty with the Romanians getting a lot of land, the Turks getting little borderlands, and mainly the coast. And they're going to be reduced to this little slither. This slither is not going to be good. So let me get back their color. This is the new Bulgarians. Yay! Bulgarians! Oh no, Bulgaria. Oh no. That's all I gotta say. But, yeah. So another thing that we see happening here is people are going to start being like, hey, I think the British have too much dominance over culture and they're influencing us too much. So they're going to start cutting off trade. And my bad, this province map looks horrible. My bad. My bad. Oh, I'll turn it off. They're going to be funding rebels. They're going to be raiding cities with everybody. And what we see happening here is a little bit of a conflict that starts a major civil war. So this area up here is going to be like, hey, I don't like you. You don't like me. Because obviously you're treating us poorly compared to the rest of your empire. We don't want to be a part of you. And they're going to be like, no, you have to be a part of us. And there's going to be a few loyalist groups up north. But they're obviously going to put them down. And they're going to take back this major city. And they're going to do more damage than the English originally thought. They're going to start pushing them back. And they push them back all the way down here. And they're going to be like, alright, we want peace. So they peace out. And this border, since I don't have provinces up here, yay, another failure of provinces. It's going to be mainly pushed back to just right about here, like so. And this is going to be a very significant portion of this episode, with a new nation joining the power struggle in Britain. And there's going to be a capital city right here where the rebellion originated. Now, this rebellion, I know it originated right here, but it mainly came from the heart of the capital down here. It just never evolved into anything more. It was more of like, hey, you're treating these people unfairly, so let's stop. These people, they were fine with how they were treated. They couldn't really care. There isn't many of them. Let's just put it at that. There isn't many people to stage a revolt, but there was enough distance between them, I guess, where these guys could just not care less. So this is the new border of the world. Let me know if I'm going too fast or if I'm going too slow. But this will be my last pre-record I'm recording today. So it's 4 a.m. I need to go to sleep. I think, maybe. Yeah. So goodbye. Don't forget to like and subscribe.